Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Ammar, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to be joined by Stephen Monaco, founder of FutureNow, a strategy and marketing consulting firm driving small business growth through guerrilla creativity, AI augmented decision making, and competitive intelligence. A marketing futurist and audacious public speaker, Stephen empowers founders to embrace unconventional tactics, pricing strategy, and customer experience innovation to leave their competition behind. Stephen, welcome to Founders Future.
Ammar, thanks for having me. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive in. I always like to start from the beginning. So take us back to before you started FutureNow. What were you doing at the time? And then what problems were you looking to solve in the marketplace with your company?
The way I started, the very specific problem I needed to solve was my best friend from college and another guy that went to, I didn't know him in college, but my friend did. They were starting a software company. They'd been working in the Silicon Valley. They were moonlighting at night working on a program, and they had it ready to go live, go commercial, and release it, but they didn't have a excuse me, they didn't have a lick of business sense. So they wanted me to move to them and help them start the business. That led to the company was called Data Storm Technologies, and our product was Procom and Procom Plus, which was data communication software prior to the web, but prior to the
Yeah.
web browser. And we bootstrapped that company. We had no outside funding, no bank loan, no line of credit, no, credit cards with $500 limits. And I led that company through 40 consecutive quarters of profitable growth to $50 million in annual revenue. And that's the beginning, really. So the problem we were trying to solve with the software was Microsoft was a direct competitor, and the leader in that market niche was a product called Crosstalk. And we, my partners had just built a better mousetrap. It was a lot easier to use. It was just as powerful. And I came in with the pricing and positioning, and that that has been a case study for many years, taught to MBA students all around the world, my positioning and pricing stuff.
Awesome. That's exciting stuff. So then bring us forward to today for Future Now to give the listeners more context. What does that company focus on? Who is your ICP and what services do you provide?
Typically, small business, that's who I like to work with. I like to work with early stage companies and often function as the acting chief marketing officer. I'm all right now. I'm actually in the just about to launch a whole new business model. And the last big consulting gig that I wrapped up was in February. And I just, I'm really tired of doing things for large organizations because I like
Mhm.
to work with minded people. And the last project was for they call themselves IEEE, the Institute for Electrical and Electronic Engineers, which has over 600,000 members around the world. And they don't make decisions quickly, organizations of that size. So I just decided I'm going to stop doing that completely. And I'm launching a mastermind group called Momentum that is for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and very small businesses, I'd say under 10. And
Okay,
I hope to launch that next month.
that's exciting. So under 10, when you say 10, is that 10 million or under?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I should have clarified. Very small, like 1 to 10 employees.
Got it. Okay,
I mean,
very
people that have larger organizations would benefit as well, as long as they're open-minded and willing to try new things.
100%. So you're looking to launch the Momentum Mastermind. Is that going to be your main focus moving forward?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. So let's dive into that. What is the mastermind going to be all about?
Really, I'm teaching the framework and mentoring people on the framework that I just mentioned that I used to grow DataStorm Technologies to $50 million in annual sales and a $71 million exit.
Wow.
So a lot of that involves asymmetrical thinking, which and audacious creativity, which I believe can be taught, but also guerrilla marketing, asymmetrical tactics, voice of customer, which is something that is so important that so many companies don't do, which is frankly just listening to the market.
Yeah.
And that was one of the big drivers behind DataStorm's success was when people called to ask a question to see if the product would suit their needs, we solicited feedback from them. We didn't ask them, what's your serial number? Are you registered user? It's like anybody. And we had an online community where that was really the entire role of it was to, it
Mm.
wasn't to like moderate conversations or anything that it was to find out what people liked and disliked, what they wanted and didn't want, and most importantly, what
Yeah.
they value enough to part with their hard-earned money for. And
Mm.
it was certainly a form of collaboration with the market, but it was a form of co-creation as well, because the most requested features became the number one things that were in the next rev of the next release of the software. Sorry, I don't mean to use lingo, but in the next software release.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
programmers that we had an R&D staff of 60 people, actual programmers, and they had ideas. Certainly, they had strong ideas about what they wanted, and I must have said many times over the 10-year period, technology does not a market make. It's cool that you can do this, and I would you'd get proppers from your fellow programmers and the programmers, but the market doesn't want this. No one cares that you can turn that pixel blue to orange. And
Yeah.
I see there's a lot of code behind that, and that's real gee whiz stuff in your world that no one cares.
Yeah.
I don't know of anything that the programmers ever lobbied for. It's way of features that made it into the product.
Yeah.
And I have nothing against them. And my undergrad degree is in engineering.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
understand that way of thinking, but you have to address market needs. And
100%.
to that end, if I could expand on just a moment, we gave the software away completely for free. It
Mm.
wasn't a crippled version, it wasn't limited to 30 days or anything like that for that very same purpose. That was a very strategic thing. It was like, we want feedback. Tell us what you. So we got tons of feedback and we implemented it, as I said, which made Procom readily adopted by the marketplace.
Got it. Very cool. And that's the company Procom that where you were or the software where you helped them get to 50 million a year and exit for 71 million, which is huge. That's no small feat. So I would love to dive into because the listeners listening to this are going to want to know how they could work with you. So part of that is Momentum Mastermind. What does that actually look like? Is there going to be a course involved? Is it just going to be calls? How often are the calls? How long is the mastermind? Let's dive into the deliverables there.
Sure. It's not a course. It's a high level mentorship program for entrepreneurs who really want to get the transformation that they need to gain the traction they need to be successful in the marketplace for long term, not be a flash in the pan, but for long term growth and sustainable profits.
I love that. Now, when you say high level mentorship, is that going to be one-on-one with you? Is that going to be group coaching? What does that look like?
So there's a course component in it as far
Okay.
as modules that they can take at their own pace. It's a closed private community. It's not a Facebook group. There are not quite weekly, but over 40 weekly group Zoom calls, like 2 hours a piece, a monthly Ask Me Anything Zoom call, as well as my participation regularly, daily in the online community where I can answer questions and guide people and steer them and just be there to mentor and
Yeah.
show them the ropes as far as what I know is a proven method. It worked for me. I can't guarantee it'll work for people, but I'm going to give them, I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to everything that
Yeah.
I know and what I learned over the years, some of which is unconventional to some. And I studied a lot of military strategy
Yep.
because I see a lot of parallels in the strategic and tactical things done by military. And it's just that in business, you're not trying to kill anyone,
Yeah.
but you are trying to take the high ground and take market share away from competitors and achieve the top spot in your market niche.
Yeah.
That seems odd to some because, oh, he's a warmonger. Hardly. I mean, nothing like that. It's about the guerrilla part.
Yeah. 100%. Business is war in a lot of ways. Is just not as violent, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's no violence,
Yeah.
no
So with
nu-
the sorry,
no
go ahead.
nukes.
With the mastermind, how much are you planning on charging for that?
It's going to be $5,000 for a membership, an annual membership. But
Okay.
when I launch it, there'll be a pretty deep discount to start.
Nice.
29.97 initially.
Cool. Now, so it sounds like you've got the mastermind in place. You're planning on launching next month. Sounds like now is just about leads, sales, all that good stuff. So when it comes to the lead generation, the marketing, what's your approach going to be there?
My approach is a combination of things: cold email outreach, organic posts and on social, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter/X, or it's where I have the largest audience. And frankly, one of the holdups is the tech stack. So
Okay.
I understand the technology stack very well, but I've never been one that's down in the trenches getting my hands dirty with it.
Yep.
So I count on freelancers that I hire through Fiverr typically, and the platform is the mastermind, the closed community is part of, or it's on Go High Level,
Got it.
the CRM, and so that's a really powerful tool.
Yep.
It's also complex. It's not something where you can just mess around for 15 minutes and go, okay, I got it, feel my way around through it. That's the only reason that it isn't going, momentum isn't going right now. Momentum has no momentum.
Yeah, for sure. That's funny. So it sounds like right now you're relying on a lot of outbound strategies, cold email, LinkedIn, X, organic social media. So some of that is going to be inbound. Are you thinking of doing any sort of paid advertisements to promote this mastermind?
Some, as the income starts coming in from that entity, I will
Yep.
certainly be investing it through retained earnings into advertising. But another thing that I'm doing, and goes, I don't know, it's not that unorthodox at all, but is affiliate marketing. People that want to promote it and get a slice of the membership. Once the 30-day, they'd be paid once the 30-day money back guarantee has expired, then they will be incented to do so.
There you go. Now, what's the idea when it comes to the sales process? Are you going to be doing sales calls? Is it going to be a direct to card thing? What does that look like?
So people that opt in, there's a lead magnet, and then when they opt in, they go to a video sales letter. It's a
Yep.
8.5 minute video, and at the end of that, they can apply. And it's not a big hurdle that as far as a requirement to join. I have 5 or 6 questions that I just want to check them out, make sure they're serious about moving forward.
Yep.
So that it's going to be important that the community has the right culture and stuff, and that people aren't, this sucks and I'm going to quit this tomorrow. I'm going to give up on entrepreneurship tomorrow and stuff. Yeah, it's not like a big hurdle, but so I'll reach back out to them, to the ones that I was like, yeah, okay, I want you to be a good fit in the group.
Got it. So are you going to get them to book a call on your calendar, or they're just going to apply and then you reach out to them?
The latter. They apply, I get back to them, and yeah, there's no call involved. There's
So
no
you
call.
don't get back to them via email.
I'm sorry. Yes, I guess I didn't say I didn't say
Okay.
that. I didn't say that, and you have no way of knowing what I'm thinking. Excuse
Okay.
me.
I'm curious, why will there be no call involved, especially with something this high ticket?
Because I want people that are highly driven first, that are willing to. There's a 30-day money back guarantee, so there's no risk. I don't see a downside for them.
Yeah.
It's a no hassle, every penny refunded for any reason they want.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I understand call and closers, IO and stuff, and having closers and
Yeah.
appointment setters and stuff. And I may do that. I may need to. I'm just going to see how it goes. I'm going to try. I'm going to
Yeah.
try this way first to see what kind of results I get.
Yeah. For sure. I respect that. I was just looking at a study. I think Google came out with two studies. I don't know. Google definitely came out with one where it's you can turn a stranger into a buyer. They typically need to have 7 hours of content that they've
Oh
consumed.
yeah,
Like that.
I've seen those types of studies
Yep.
as well.
And then there was another one where it's talking about trust recession, how we're at an all-time low in terms of interpersonal trust. I meet a
Mhm.
random on the street or if I meet somebody over Zoom, we're at a point right now where trust has been very low. So typically people like to have those conversations. I'm just curious your thought process. I've seen it work both ways.
I've seen those studies as well, and I consulted for a year for Edelman Public Relations Worldwide. They're the largest PR firm in the
Nice.
world, and they have a thing every year in February that it's really a big lead magnet for them. It brings them a lot of business, but it's their annual trust barometer where they have a whole team of people that work all year long on putting that report together. And it's fascinating. It shows globally that trust in the government, federal government, local governments, mainstream media too. Like the trust is, it just keeps getting lower every year. Stanford has a study like that as well. But the Edelman one is really comprehensive and drills down on lots of countries. It isn't just the
The US.
G7 or G8 countries. It gets into developing nations and stuff too, which is really interesting to see that the more informed people are, the less trust they have because the more factual information they're able to get, they're like, God, my government lies to me, and
Yeah.
the media lies to me, and I have the chops, I have the pedigree, so people
100%.
will trust me or they won't. And if I need to, and that's not to be arrogant, it's just I have been there and done that. This isn't my first rodeo, and
Yep.
as I need to, I will dial up the advertising and things like that. Of course, I would be generating content. And one thing I've got to mention that is part of momentum, which is really important, is that all the things that I've done in the proven method that I'm referring to, it's like how I'm doing it now with AI. Because you can do things so much faster, so much less expensive, so much more efficiency. And I'm one of the original members of the IBM Futures Group. I was invited to join that group by IBM in 2015 and work on a project called the IBM Futures Project 2025. So that just ended. So we're looking ahead at what business in 2015, what's business going to look like in commerce and social media and mobile,
Yep.
all forms of commerce in 2025. Here we are. So I've been dealing with AI for a very long time. I don't, I think most people don't think of IBM as when it comes to AI, they were a pioneer in it. They're not really a player now with Anthropic and OpenAI and Elon Musk's entities. But in 2014, I believe it was, or maybe 2013, their IBM supercomputer, as they referred to it, Watson was the name. It beat the all-time three winners of the TV show Jeopardy. So they
Mm,
featured it on Jeopardy, and none of the three people who had won most in Jeopardy over the history of that TV game show
yep.
could beat Watson. So IBM pioneers are really deep into quantum stuff now.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Very
anyway,
cool.
so
That's
um,
yeah,
I know the best practices. AI is evolving like nothing I've seen before. When the web, when Mark Andreessen developed the web browser in 1993 while he was a student at the University of Illinois, that changed everything.
for sure. I'm
But
curious.
this is it leveled the playing field in so many ways so that very small companies could compete against very large companies and compete
100%. Yeah,
internationally. But AI is going at a pace that is unreal.
for sure. I completely agree. I'm super curious. When you think of your vision and you think about your goal for this mastermind over the next 12 months, are there any specific revenue targets, performance targets? What are your goals? What does that look like over the next 12 months?
I do have revenue targets. My main driver and my main rationale is that, and this goes back to the beginning of this conversation, like I want to make an impact, a positive impact on people's lives. And so saying that I don't want to work with large entities isn't just a cliche because it's cool to charge $500 an hour. Like these huge organizations that have no soul. And I don't know if I move the needle for them or not because it's a consulting gig of a year, or that the one with IEEE was like 15 months. But I want to affect change in people's lives. I truly do. And I mean that from the heart. I have a servant's heart. So yeah, the money is important. I like to make money, but it isn't the primary driver. I want to help people.
Yeah,
I love the entrepreneurial spirit. I'm somebody that hates the status quo. It's like every time something new comes along that usurps the status quo, be it a product or a service or a method, that's cool because it serves consumers better usually, and it lowers price points, it causes downward price pressure, and that's all good for consumers. And I'm pro-consumer. I,
there you go. I love that.
I
Let
buy
me ask
things.
you, let me ask you one more question that I think
Sure.
would be helpful to new entrepreneurs. If you were giving new entrepreneurs advice and you could give them a piece of advice that you wish you knew when you were first starting out in business, what would that one piece of advice be?
Well, I guess I knew it. Maybe I didn't know that I knew it, but was to don't operate in stealth mode. Forget that. That is, talk to the market, understand really what customers or consumers or anyone in the niche wants, what they don't want, what's their wish list, what's on their wish list. And again, what do they value? And I was fanatical about that. In
Yeah,
that, like when I say anyone in the niche, like sometimes people don't realize, like, besides the only one that you don't talk to really to solicit feedback would be direct competitors. But vendors and suppliers, they all have a point of view that, oh, there's that old adage, and one man's discarded thought is another man's treasure. But if they're serving the same types of customers and they provide something completely different, they're worth talking to because they'll have an insight that you won't. If two heads are better than one, 1,000 heads are better than two. Yeah, sorry. I dissuade I dissuade people from operating in stealth mode because they're working in a vacuum and they don't know if the market's going to adopt what they're great to give.
100%.
And that's so true in high tech where, the founder is often an engineer
Yeah,
and you've got like the analogy I used about the programmers at DataStream.
yeah. What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Direct message on LinkedIn, direct message on Twitter/X. I don't think I should provide my email address.
That's okay. Just find,
Um,
yeah,
but I'm very accessible.
yeah,
I've been told I walk the line between authority and accessibility like few others. I'm very humble and down
yeah,
to earth, and I really do want to help people. That's not a cliche.
yeah. I love that. Stephen, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me on, Ammar.
Yeah. So that wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to check out Stephen Monaco on LinkedIn. Momentum Mastermind is coming out shortly, so keep your eyes peeled. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, obviously don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you're a business owner and you're looking to scale your business and really enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Till then, keep on climbing.